I didn't see that one coming.
This is the last time we're ever going to be doing this.
It's completely unexpected.
I mean, I audibly gasped.
First episodes of every season are always a challenge, but for the final season, it was a lot of pressure because we had all these characters convening at Winterfell.
We thought the arrival was a way to capture what was at stake for Dany and for Jon, for Arya on the ground and for Tyrion and Varys and Grey Worm and Missandei on horseback. Everybody has a slightly different take on what's happening here.
Background! Action!
David Nutter directed half the season for us, and there's no more beloved director in the business.
Usually a director on Game of Thrones will shoot for 3 days, and he has 2 days prep, and then he maybe shoots for a full week, but Nutter just had to go all out for 8 or 9 weeks of shooting.
I was so happy that he was back for the final season. David Nutter really felt like part of the family.
We shot a lot of the parade stuff at the end of the year where we had kind of the 2 shortest days of the year. And then we came back and it kind of brought some scope to it.
Winterstown is a settlement just outside of Winterfell, and so that road was snowed. We built the little buildings that led up the road. It was completely redressed to be the Winterfell little town.
It's basically a huge parade. The ADs sort out background, villagers, reactions, so you're actually working with the extras in a way so you're getting a performance out of everybody. We work with the military advisors, so all of these guys look professional, marching step.
When we tell them to do something, they do it. We teach them some very basic drill movements so they know how to stand. Everything's under a command, a whistle blast, so they get to learn to react in a military style, in a disciplined style.
Anything that's on the page, we tend to show rather than just imply. If you're going to say you want to see thousands of Unsullied, then we have to show it.
It's a significant, big scope moment. So the challenge was definitely to find ways to really make it seem like thousands are arriving. You have to have a vantage point from higher up.
When I read the opening sequence and I saw this little boy running to try to see the parade and see the show and see what he's missing, I felt like that little boy, because I've been gone for 2 seasons. So in some respects, I kind of was that little boy.
Daenerys arrives and immediately Sansa wants to make it very clear that she runs this shit.
This is a tough crowd.
I think Jon knows Sansa well enough now that when it comes to Dany, he knows he's going to have some difficulty.
Jon is in love with her, has bent the knee, he's got googly eyes on, he's got like beer goggles on.
I basically sat down with Sophie and told her, you have to remember one thing. This is your house.
Queen Daenerys of House Targaryen.
Thank you for inviting us into your home, Lady Stark. The North is as beautiful as your brother claimed. As are you.
You're meeting the family. You want to do well. You want them to like you, goddammit.
And, you're met with a stony, stoic silence.
It's not a comfortable homecoming, no.
There were a lot of people on set, kind of like a giant game of Where's Waldo.
In the first episode, a couple of our friends from the comedy world were in a scene.
They gouged my eye out. They gouged my fucking eye out. They can put it back in, right? Right?
Yeah.
Benioff told me they would.
When we found out that George Lucas wanted to visit, we thought maybe it was a practical joke, and then we were really excited and also nervous because it's George Lucas.
Your sister doesn't like me.
If it makes you feel any better, she didn't like me either when we were growing up.
Now, Prince. For George to be sitting at my director's chair, that was so cool for me. I had George go out and speak to Kit and Amelia.
Okay, that was great. No direction for you. I don't really care about you. I don't care what happens to you.
What? What's going on?
I mean, like, the first time, like, I could remember telling stories was me as a little kid mashing together these, like, Stormtrooper dolls. For so many of us, he's the one who started our obsession with this kind of big, epic storytelling.
And of course, Theon put the fever through the rider Dave Hill's head.
3, 2, 1, go!
I very much learned the lesson that sometimes when you write 2 words, that you then create so much work for everyone involved. Oh, I get an axe in the head. Simple enough. Next thing I know, I'm flying to London to go out to have my face sculpted, be wrapped in plaster and molded. The day of, I'm in a chair for 4.5 hours.
It was great to see that we were basically going to get to take Dave Hill out, one of our writers. It's quite nice to be able to kill fellow crew members off in the nicest kind of way.
Having to go and be the one who gives the performance is so much more difficult than I imagined. And I was just trying desperately not to screw it up. And I did the first time. And then the second time got it right.
And board.
The Godswood tree is such an iconic piece of the show. To create that Godswood tree is a huge amount of effort. Every year it would have to be painted white, it would be coated in latex, a sculpted face would be applied to it. The greens team would go about adding branches to it with flocked red leaves that Kevin Fraser would paint up for us.
It's a process where you take a flock, which is a fibre, and actually adhere it to the leaf on one surface. So obviously you got some quite interesting dynamics when things were lit and shot.
You used to be taller. When I first got the scripts, there's like a bunch of lords and ladies talking, and I was thinking, are we ever going to get a scene together again? And then finally got to that scene, and I was just beaming.
The really spooky thing was turning around and seeing her for the first time. And what I wanted to try and get was this kind of punch to the gut of literally turning around and seeing time having passed.
You still have the sword.
Needle.
Needle. The most amazing thing happened. I just didn't have to do anything. Because you had 2 actors who hadn't worked together since season 1 to get a chance to show pure, true love. The one thing I've told the actors in season 8, the audience just want to see you breathe.
To watch Kit grow as an actor on the show has been incredible, and I think the fans are going to love it, because I loved it.
I hit you right in the face. I'm so sorry.
Part of the fun of the episode was bringing back together all these characters. It's also the challenge of the episode because you don't want it to feel like it's, just the reunion episode.